Hi everyone! Today I am making my most requested soup recipe, and it is called Soup Măng Cua, which is a Vietnamese crab and asparagus soup. If you have ever attended a Vietnamese wedding banquet, you are often served either a shark fin soup or this crab and asparagus soup. And you probably won't find this soup on the menu at just any Vietnamese restaurant. You would have to find a Vietnamese restaurant that serves family-style dishes. But with this simple recipe, you don't need to order it from a restaurant. You can make it yourself. The end of the summer season is just days away, and the mornings are definitely getting colder. Today the weather is overcast, gloomy, and drizzling, so it is a perfect day to make a warm pot of soup. We're going to need a few things in order to make this soup, so let's head on over to Costco. Here I'm going to pick up some crab meat. Now, if you'd like to buy some fresh crabs and extract the meat yourself, feel free to do so. But to make this recipe simple and quick, I'm just going to buy this tub of crab meat. Next on my list of things to buy is some chicken stock. You can choose to use homemade chicken stock if you like, but to save some time and work, I'm going to use the Costco brand organic chicken stock. Then lastly, I'm going to pick up some cage-free eggs. The rest of the ingredients will have to be purchased at an Asian market, and we will need some white asparagus spears and some quail eggs. Now traditionally, only crab and asparagus are used in the soup, but I just feel as though the soup needed a little bit more substance, so I decided to add some quail eggs. And to season the soup, we will need some chicken seasoning, fish sauce, sesame oil, and white pepper. We will also need a thickening agent for the soup, so I'm going to use some tapioca starch for that. And to garnish the soup, we will need some chopped cilantro and green onions. In a large soup pot, pour in the chicken stock and bring it to a boil. Now normally I would add some water along with the chicken stock, but I found this brand of chicken stock to be not as salty as some of the other brands I have used in the past. Maybe because it's organic, I don't know. But if your canned chicken broth is a bit salty, you may need to add some water to your soup. Just do a taste test at the very end after you have added everything to the soup pot. If you find that your soup is a bit salty, then just simply add some water. Alright, while we're waiting for the soup to come to a boil, let's get all of our ingredients ready. Take the tub of crab meat and pour it into a bowl. Then slightly separate the crab meat with your hands and set it aside. Okay, let's open the can of asparagus and drain the liquid. Then give the asparagus a quick rinse under some cold water. Next, cut the asparagus spears into smaller pieces. You can cut them up to any size or shape that you want. Then place them into a bowl. In a few minutes, there will be some liquid at the bottom of the bowl. Do not discard the juice as it will later be added to the soup. Okay, now open the can of quail eggs and drain them. Also give them a quick rinse and then set them aside. Next, combine the tapioca starch with some cold water and stir until all of the starch has dissolved, then set this aside as well. Now crack 2 eggs into a bowl and beat with a fork or whisk. Then pour the beaten eggs into a measuring cup with a spout. This will make it easier to pour the eggs into the soup later. Now just set everything on the counter next to the soup pot. Again, we have the crab meat, the asparagus spears, the quail eggs, the tapioca starch mixture, and the beaten eggs. Let's also get the seasonings ready for the soup. We will need some chicken seasoning, sesame oil, white pepper, and fish sauce. Go ahead and set them all aside for right now. Next, we will need to wash and chop the cilantro and green onions. By this time, the soup should be hot, so we're going to first add in all of the seasonings. I'm so sorry guys, I forgot to press the record button when I added the chicken seasoning and the white pepper into the soup, but you can see that it is in there. So please be sure to add them into the soup pot. Next to go in is the sesame oil and the fish sauce. Then give the soup a good stir. Once the soup has come up to a boil, we can then dump the rest of the ingredients into the pot. In goes the yummy crab meat, the asparagus spears along with its juices, and the cute little quail eggs. Then gently stir the soup to combine everything. Okay, it's time to thicken up the soup. Before you add in the tapioca starch mixture, it is very important that you first turn your heat down to low. Now give the tapioca starch mixture a really good stir. When adding in the tapioca starch mixture, don't just pour the whole thing into the soup. You don't want to do that. Just add in a ladle at a time until it reaches the consistency that you desire. So I'm going to first add 1 ladle of the tapioca starch mixture, and then I'm going to give the soup a stir. Okay, you can see that the soup is not quite thick enough, so I'm going to add another ladle of the tapioca starch mixture. But remember, right before you add the tapioca starch mixture to the soup, give it a good stir. Alright, in goes the second ladle of the tapioca starch mixture. And again, give the soup a stir, then wait about a minute to see if the soup is the right consistency for you. If you would like your soup to be thicker, then go ahead and add more of the tapioca starch mixture until it has reached the consistency that you want. For me, this is the perfect consistency, so I'm going to stop right here. As you can see, I did not add all of the tapioca starch mixture. There's actually about half of it still left, so I'm just going to discard it. Now turn your heat back up to high and slowly stir the soup until you see some bubbles form on the top. Continue swirling the soup in a circular pattern and gradually add in the beaten eggs. Don't pour it all in at once, just a little bit each time. Pour in some of the beaten eggs while continuously stirring the soup. Each time you pour in the beaten eggs, wait about 15 seconds before pouring more of it in. This is how you create the nice egg ribbons in your soup. And sometimes it is hard to tell just from looking at the soup which is the egg and which is the crab, because the two blend together beautifully. Before you turn off the heat, check the soup for seasoning. If it's too salty, add more water. If it's not thick enough, add more of the tapioca starch mixture. If you feel that it needs more flavor, maybe add some more of the sesame oil, but only add in a few drops at a time, as too much of the oil can overpower the taste of the soup. Okay, for me, the soup is perfect. So I'm not going to add anything else to the soup. Now all you gotta do is garnish the soup with some chopped cilantro and green onions. You can sprinkle on some more of the white pepper if you like. You can ladle the soup into a serving bowl or into individual bowls. It is best served immediately while it's still hot because the soup will thin out as it cools. This recipe can definitely be more complicated. You can extract the crab meat yourself and make a homemade chicken broth. You can choose to use fresh quail eggs and boil them until they are cooked. And you can also use some fresh white asparagus spears and boil them until they are soft. But by doing all of this, it can take 2 to 3 hours to cook this soup. With my recipe, this soup can be made within 30 minutes. Well, I hope you guys like my quick and easy soup Măng Cua recipe. Enjoy your soup and have a great day, y'all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later, alligator. Bye!